Okay, traders, very warm welcome to you. So in this video, we're going to talk about should you move to a trading office? Stay tuned. Hey guys, a warm welcome to you. All right, so the pros and cons of trading from home and whether or not you should consider taking the plunge and moving to a trading office. Okay, I've traded from both scenarios, right? I've traded a long time from home and I've also traded from 3 separate offices with different people. So I want to talk about the pros and cons of doing both. Now, the obvious one is the expense of having an office versus the no expense of having a home office. Most of the time people in a home office, it's a room in their house, they're already there, it doesn't cost them any extra money. Whereas pulling the trigger and having an office somewhere is an investment. It's going to cost you money. So you need to weigh up the pros and cons of having a trading office, whether it's something that's worth outlaying that capital and you believe you're going to get that back tenfold or multiples of that back, or whether it's worth staying in your home office. So let's look at the both. So the pros of moving to a trading office are that you distinctly separate trading from home. You go to your office, you do your work, you do whatever you need to do at work, and then you come back and home. And that is a big plus. That is a big thing that a lot of people, a lot of traders struggle with, right? They struggle with the fact that when you're trading from home specifically, you kind of are all in one, like your home and trading life is all in one, and that becomes challenging for a lot of people. So that's the big thing, it's moving away. The second bonus is that you can team up with another trader or other traders. So you can split the cost of the office and get a 4, 5, 6 man office, split the cost of the office and have a group of traders who are all there trading. Now, I've traded with people who weren't trading the same strategy as me, but we shared a lot of things. We kind of had a group plasma back then on the screen where we'd share charts, we'd share information, we share ideas. Of course, in the downtime, you can discuss the markets, whatever, and it worked really, really well. It's a great environment to be in, especially if you're kind of all doing what you're trying to do, and it doesn't necessarily need to be the same strategy. Different strategies completely were, but it worked very, very well. So there is that, there's a camaraderie of traders. There's kind of also, if you do trade the same kind of strategy, even if you don't, the fact that you can alert someone to news, you can alert something that's going on. So that is a good reason to be in an office, definitely. If you're that kind of person as well, who you like that social interaction, then that's one way of doing it. Another pro of having a trading office is, of course, if you're running your trading as a business, it's a fully deductible expense. There's no ifs and buts about using a portion of your house and home and whether that's capital gains tax and all this kind of stuff. It's a business expense. You're paying rent there, and that just gets deducted from your bottom line. So that can be quite useful. There's also the space issue as well. I mean, people don't forget. I mean, most of the time when people are trading in their home, they've got kind of a big multi-screen setup. You've got, you've got folders, you've got bits and pieces, and you get that space back. It's something that you can't overlook. Your home just becomes a home again, and you're not going to be trading from there. Now, that's not to say you're not going to be looking at the markets, but most of the time people have a big trading setup and screens and all their kind of big gear, if you like, at the office, and then have a laptop at home to look and maybe log in via some sort of remote desktop if they need to. So those are the pros, and I think the biggest one of that is being able to split the home and work life. Now, the cons, the biggest one obviously is the cost. Depending on where you live in the world or in the country as well, it's going to be a reasonable cost. Now, you want to get something that's as close to home as possible so that you're not commuting for a long time. I've made the mistake, kind of one of the first office I got actually was a 40-minute drive away, which it was fine, but after a while you think, I don't need to be wasting this time on fuel and expense and just the time situation as well, sitting in the car driving there. It was unnecessary. So the next office was a lot closer, and then got closer and closer and closer as I kind of moved offices and moved around. So that's a thing to kind of point out. It's not a pros and cons, but it's something to definitely point out. But the biggest con, of course, is the expense. So if you let's assume that you are close to your home, and let's assume that you're not spending a fortune on fuel or on trains or whatever it may be, then you are going to be spending some money. You're going to spend the rent, and unless you've kind of got a serviced office where it's all included, you're going to have other bills and pieces as well. And this is a kind of multi-part video series. We talk about trading from home and the pros and cons in offices and stuff. So I'm going to do a video specifically about how to pick a trading office and what you kind of look for and stuff. And that should be up now. If it's not already, then make sure you're subscribed so you get alerts to that and all that good stuff. So is the cost, right? So there is a cost involved in it. But if you share it amongst other people, then it doesn't have to be that expensive. But you've got to kind of work out and say, okay, well, you know, the cost is the biggest con. You know, that's really, is there any more cons? Okay, there's probably one where, okay, perhaps if you're splitting up your trading day, you know, maybe if you've got some sort of commitments in the middle of the day, you normally trade and then have those commitments and then trade again, then maybe it's hard to do that if you're kind of in an office that's far away. You prefer to be at home because you can trade for a bit and that. So there is that time commitment as well, and there's a time to get to the office, even if it is relatively close. So you've got to allow for that. But the biggest thing is obviously the financial commitment. Now, it depends how you're looking at your trading, right? If you're looking at your trading and you're thinking, well, I kind of feel that I want to do something to mix and shake things up. I'm sitting in this home, I feel like I want to get out, I feel like I want to kind of be engaged with others, then it's not a bad decision to make. I would be cautious about getting your own little office, a small office, sitting in a kind of, you know, cubicle, if you like, on your own. I don't reckon that makes a lot of sense, but then I quite like the interaction with other traders and that kind of stuff. For me, that was more of the pull for it than just sitting and taking somewhere away from home. So that may be something to think about. Don't just dive into an office on your own thinking that, well, actually that separation is going to make things better. But anyway, that's a real personal decision. But one thing to note is that it definitely puts you in a better, more professional frame of mind, right? Regardless of what you're making at the moment in trading or not making or wherever you're positioned, it definitely, without a doubt, puts you in a far better perspective of, hey, you know what, I'm running a professional business now. This is my business. This is my business expenses. It's completely separate. I mean, you should be doing that anyway if you're running from home, but it just feels as if it's a much more proper thing, if you like, for want of a better word. And that can do a lot for your trading because it can reinvigorate the way that you process your trades. It can reinvigorate the way that you analyze the markets. It can do a lot of things for the way you trade, and that could just be the nudge that you want. Now, I wouldn't say go for a big commitment. Again, go and check out this video. We'll talk about pros and cons. Talk about what to look for with an office. Don't go for a big commitment, but it perhaps is something you can do. Even better is if you kind of find office space within some people who aren't even traders, perhaps. So you've got that kind of work environment, but and you get that kind of homework split without forking out. But again, check out that video. Anyway, guys, any ideas or thoughts from you? Comments in the comment section below. Let me know where you're trading from at the moment. If you're trading from home, trading from an office, what your pros and cons you think they are, and what would make you move to an office or not. All right, guys, take care. See you next one. Bye-bye.